Hey, what's going on, Shawn? How are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I just had a question for you.
Yeah.
So I'm currently in seminary right now, working on my PhD. I don't know. You went to college too, right?
I went to Calvary Chapel School of Ministry, non-accredited.
Oh, okay. Well, I've been working on my PhD, and honestly, I think it's one of the worst things that I've ever done. And I guess my question, or more so advice, would be, well, about a couple months ago, I lost my mother in a tragic car accident.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And prior to becoming a Christian, I was never religious. I was a Bill Maher type atheist, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I got into I think you've brought him up before. He's brought you up before. James White. You ever heard of James White?
I do know James White.
Yeah, I got into him and all these other people, and it's like the more I got into, I don't want to say Christian or just I don't know, but it's like, all right, if I believe in Calvinism, well then, are the Arminians right or the Calvinists right? Is this school of thought right? Is this? Then you get to the manuscript, and then the manuscript stuff, and with the Bart Ehrman stuff. I don't know if you've heard of that guy. I've read all his books, and so I'm very well educated, and in a lot of things. And you helped me get into Mormonism as far as talking to people. But so I'm at the point where a lot of it, I'm starting to. I don't want to say lose faith, but it's just starting to become more of a man-made product in my mind. The more I read and the more things that I look into, from John Calvin, I've read the Institutes of Christian Religion to the history of Christianity. I'm studying apologetics. So I'm not trying to ramble. It's just, I guess my question to you would be, how do I reconcile with, if I believe the wrong thing, I could go to hell. You know what I'm saying? How do I reconcile that?
On the path that you're on, it's going to be difficult to do that because in academia, everything is about what you know and what you believe and what is right and what is wrong. And we aren't saved, Vincent, from hell because of what we know. Knowledge is never mentioned as the thing that saves us. It's actually the antithesis of knowledge that saves us. It's faith. And so I think on the road you're on can be used for your good, especially if you've been gifted by God with a great mind to be able to endure those studies. But if you let it get under your skin, you could go the Bart Ehrman way. You could become a baker. You could become any of those guys who went to theology school, Loftus, and turned and became an atheist, because we don't know God by our intellect. Our intellect certainly is in play, and God wants us to use our minds, but really, bottom line, you know Him by that humble, broken willingness to trust in Him. And that is almost antithetical to what we do when it comes to those studies. So I would suggest this to you, my brother, for whatever it's worth. You could study for the rest of your life ardently, get 10 PhDs. But in the end, if you are a seeker of truth, you ultimately will come to discover one thing. Everything after this life, everything is about love. Everything. I'm not talking about Haight-Ashbury love. I'm not talking about free love. You know what I'm talking about. And it all comes down to that. And if that is not the product that's coming out in you from your studies, maybe you ought to rethink what you're doing.